Mary's back and welcome to my mini magical readathon GEARUP TBR. That's a bit of a mouthful, but the prompts are actually pretty approachable. There's only 2 of them, but when it comes to the mini magical readathon, there are a few things I needed to realize before organizing my TBR. So there are different types of guilds. There are 4 of them, and they are the Arcane, Crescent, Archivists, and Mindwalkers. So looking at those guilds based on all of the information sheets that G from Book Roast has created, I chose Mindwalkers as my guild, and from there that gave me the reading prompts I needed to know. So every guild has their own weapon, which is called a conduit. So once you choose a guild, then you're given the reading prompt based on the conduit, and the conduit for the Mindwalkers, which I've chosen, is a dagger. And so for the dagger, the reading prompt is read a standalone book. And then as well as the conduit, each guild has a specialization. So for Arcane, for example, it would be some kind of magical specialization. For Mindwalkers as well, it is kind of interdimensional. So for mine, I'm choosing teleportation, which is classed as astral plane, and astral plane is a reading prompt, and that reading prompt is read a book set in a different world from ours. So based on read a standalone book and read a book that is based in a world that's not ours, I've organized my TBR. For standalone book, I'm probably going to read Gallant by V.E. Schwab, if it's not too late in the month for me to read this, because I'd like to have a review out as early as possible. So I do want to say this in case my reading is caught up with other things, but I'd like to finish this in early March if I can. So tentatively, this is on my TBR. This is a new young adult standalone from Victoria Schwab, the same author that wrote one of my favorite books, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, recently. So I'm really looking forward to jumping into this one, especially because it's a standalone and it's not too long. And then I am counting this as a standalone, even though it's technically kind of a companion, and that is Act Your Age, Eve Brown. This is technically, I guess, the 3rd book in the Talia Hibbert series, but you can really jump in at any point and read about any sister. So I'm counting it as a standalone, even though some people might think that's cheating. To me, it's on my TBR and I want to read it, and it's technically a standalone, so I'm going to include it. And then for books set outside of this world, so the astral plane prompt, I'm going to get so tongue-tied saying that later on. One of the books that I'd like to read is a graphic novel, and that is Law Olympus. This was initially a webcomic, and I read a little bit of the webcomic, but I'm more interested in the physical version because it's just more tangible and tactile for me to read, and I liked the art style. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling or reimagining, I think. Beyond that, I don't know much more about it, but I love Greek mythology, so naturally I'm on board with this. And when I was looking briefly at the webcomic, I liked the art style and the colours, so that's why I grabbed volume 1, because it only came out, I think, mid to late last year, so this is still quite a new release. And then I've got 2 more for the outside of this world prompt, and one of them is Dark One by Brandon Sanderson. This is a story following a villain, I think. It says some worlds are made to be broken. It's called Dark One. I imagine instead of following the Chosen One, we follow the one who's going to break the world. It's kind of like Dune with the anti-Chosen One trope, but I'm interested to see how that goes down. I don't know how I'm going to respond to the art style, because I don't really love that whole traditional art style of how the old Marvel comics are drawn. So I hope that this conveys the right amounts of expression and stuff in the art style. We'll see. I might end up DNFing this and picking it up at a later date, but it's tentatively on my TBR as well. And then the next book and the last book on this TBR is The Last Argosy book by Sebastian de Castell. This is the sequel to Way of the Argosy, and this follows Faru Parfax, and she is like the mentor figure in the Spellslinger series. But this is a prequel series, and it follows her, how she came to be what she's like in the Spellslinger series. I'm really liking following her story, and I liked the first book enough I gave it 4 stars, and that's why I pre-ordered this one, and it's obviously arrived, and I've just not added it to any TBR yet because it arrived in January and I've just kind of been ignoring it since. So I would like to get this read, because reading this means that I finish a series, or at least get up to date on a series, because I think this is a duology, so I would like to do that. But these are all of the books on my mini magical readathon TBR. I probably won't read all of them, but I will pick and choose and cherry pick as I see fit, depending on what my reading mood is like. But if you're participating in this readathon as well, let me know down below. I'd be interested to hear from you. But thank you again so much for watching this video. I'll come chat to you down below, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.